Greetings everyone. Father Solanus Casey. Does that mean anything to you? If it doesn't, that's fine. I had no clue who that was until recently. And I suspect most people in the Catholic world won't know who that is. If you do know who that is, well done to you. And I'm going to guess you might be from the USA, because that is where Father Solanus Casey is from. And the reason I want to talk about him today is because he is involved in a possible miracle. And basically, it seems that a man in the USA who had quite a serious case of COVID-19 has said that he was healed by Father Solanus Casey. Father Solanus Casey passed away in 1957, but he is blessed Father Solanus Casey because he has already had one miracle attributed to him, and I'm going to quickly tell you about that now. So it's Miraculous Healing. In September 2012, Zarate, that's Paula Medina Zarate, her full name, a retired teacher from the Central American country of Panama, visited St. Bonaventure Monastery in Detroit and stopped to pray at Casey's tomb. She asked God to hear her prayers for the sick and troubled people she visited during her volunteer work back home. Then she heard a voice, and the voice said, "What do you need for you?" I got back down on my knees and I placed myself on the tomb, Zarate told the Free Press last year. I asked for mercy for myself, for the condition for my legs and my arms. Zarate had suffered since birth from, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, ichthyosis. The genetic condition causes skin to become thickened, scaly and cracked. Later that day and overnight, Zarate's body began shedding sheets of the diseased skin, a process witnessed by some staffers at the monastery. Archdiocese of Detroit officials launched an investigation that included medical and church experts. A report was delivered to the Vatican in May 2017. Pope Francis declared that Casey would be beatified and given the title of Blessed, putting him one step away from becoming a saint. Right, so that's what caused Father Solanus Casey to be beatified. And now I want to move on to the more recent healing that this man claims was caused by Father Solanus Casey. Now, there's a whole article on this, but I don't want to just read it because, to be honest, there's a video at the bottom that pretty much explains what's in the article. So I'm just going to play you the video and let this man who says he was healed by Solanus Casey talk for himself. It's him and his wife talking in the video. So here we go.
My name is Nolan Ostrowski.
So his name's Nolan Ostrowski. Now, to any Polish viewers, as myself, that's probably Ostrowski, or at least it used to be, until it became Ostrowski. So he's probably like some further generation in the USA used to be Polish. I mean, this doesn't really matter, but I just wanted to say it, because you keep hearing things like Krakow is Krakow, Ostrowski is Ostrowski. Whenever it's Americanized, it kind of turns into ow from of. I really like America, USA, it's great, but that's one thing that it gets me whenever I hear it. Anyway.
I'm 52 years old. I was born in Detroit, raised in the Metro Detroit area. Met my wife in the Metro Detroit area, Kathleen, and we moved out to Eden Rapids shortly after our first 12 years of marriage.
So everyone's calling. My dad called and said, "Oh, I lit a candle and prayed to Solanus Casey." He does go down to the Solanus Casey Center sometimes. He's in the Detroit area. And then my mother-in-law, Nolan's mother, said, "Oh, I lit a candle and prayed to Solanus Casey." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's great. You know, he needs all the help, you know, he can get." And I didn't think that much of it, you know. And then the Diocese of Lansing on the Facebook page on his feast day, they had the prayer for the canonization, and you can put your intention in there. So the kids and I, you know, I read it off my phone before dinner, and we prayed it for Nolan.
And then that's when, in the evening, I'd had an encounter with Solanus Casey. And I had knew of him. I didn't really know what he was about, what he had done. My mom had I don't know if it was a prayer card, it was a picture of him kneeling at her home church back in the day. And I've seen that, but it wasn't a picture of his face, it was just a picture of him kneeling at the altar. And like I said, I wasn't really sensitive to him or what he had done or what he was about. And then that night, I was sitting there and I woke up and I felt like there was a lot of darkness around me, a lot of despair over me. And I noticed there was somebody sitting at the side of my bed towards the footboard or the headboard. And but I couldn't turn to see who it was. All I could see was their legs and his brown robe. And at that time, I thought it was my guardian angel. I said, well, that must be my guardian angel. And I felt a certain amount of comfort with that. And that was the only way I could really understand it.
Then the next day is when Nolan said he saw his guardian angel, and I was like, that's great. And I still didn't think, any of this was going to happen.
And then that night, it happened again, but this time he was at the foot of my bed, 3 chairs down from the foot of my bed, the footboard. And he sat like this, hands on his thighs. And he looked at me, but he didn't really make eye contact, just kind of looked at me and then looked straight ahead. And I kind of got the feeling he was very irritated. Like he didn't really want to, I don't want to say he didn't want to be there, but he was like being forced to be there. It's kind of the image I kind of got from him.
That's quite funny, actually, that he saw who he believed to be Father Solanus Casey, and he looks like he doesn't want to be there. It's actually, I don't think I've heard of a case like that where somebody is in trouble and then someone from above, from heaven, comes to heal them, but they don't really want to do it. They almost feel like, I don't want to say anything against this man, Mr. Ostrowski, but it's almost like he saw him and thought, no, he doesn't deserve to be healed. Why are you sending me down to heal him? It's quite unusual, but that's what he says happened, that he looked at him and he said he did not look like he wanted to be there. He didn't look happy.
And I kind of feel like I know when someone's irritated because, in high school I was probably pretty irritating to my teachers. And he sat there, and that's when I realized that this isn't just my guardian angel, this is a saint, this is someone special. So I started to plead for my life. Now before that, I said the Hail Mary, the Our Father, and the St. Michael Archangel, Archangel prayer. And that's when I think it became clear to me that he was a saint. So then I started to plead my case and beg for my life. And after telling him about my family and that there was these things I wanted to teach my kids, I didn't want to get raised without me because there's a lot of screwed up people in this world, and I didn't want them to fall victim to that. And I said that they were the most important thing to me, and they are. And then I looked at him, and there was no response from him. It was like I was talking to a statue. Nothing. And then I said, well, if you save me, I'll never use God's name in vain again. And he jumped up like he won the lotto. It was it was kind of startling. And he ran around the side of my bed. And when he ran, it was like a skipping, floating motion almost. He just kind of, and he was there. And he reached out and he touched my rib cage under my arm, and then at the bottom of my rib cage. And I remember kind of lifting my arm a little bit, but it was very quick, and then he just stepped back a couple steps. And I felt like there was this ease came over me, and I felt very relaxed and comfortable. I knew I was saved.
Again, at first, this guy, Nolan Ostrowski, he's saying all these things, about his family, and he doesn't react. The saint, well, not the saint, sorry, Father Casey, the blessed Father Casey, he doesn't react. He's like, yeah, that's great. But I really don't want to be here, and I don't want to help you. And then when he makes a promise and says, okay, look, if you do this for me, I will stop doing this, then he helps. Again, unusual case, but interesting.
And then the day that I brought the picture up, he told me that he had seen him. He had come and visited him. And Nolan said, when I went there that day, he was very emotional, and he said he realized how blessed he was after just in life, and how much God has blessed him through his life, and he felt very at peace. And then 2 days later, he got put on the ventilator, and he's in a coma, and it was 2 days later, I got a call from Indiana, and I just made the decision that God wanted him to go to Indiana. I knew once he was there, even though it was a roller coaster while he was there, that he was there to get better, that's where God sent him to heal.
Once I got there, the heart doctor, came around and introduced himself to me and Kathy. And he said he was a Catholic, and that's a picture of Father Solanus Casey. He told me that his brother was a priest and that his nephew had a devotion to Father Solanus Casey. So it was kind of like a mile marker that he was there. He's still working his magic.
And then when we got there, and it kind of confirmed it when, like Dr. Fernandez, I had the picture up in his room in Indiana. When I got there, I put it up, and he knew who it was, and he's like, he lived down the street in Huntington, from here, and it just felt, there was all these doors that opened for Nolan to get to Indiana.
And I progressively got better from that point on. They took me off the ventilator. I was able to breathe on my own nonstop. They didn't have to put me back on it. And they said that never happens. And then as I got better and they shipped me off home, the nurses there, they all came to see me, and they said, hold it, you're on this ECMO for 40 days, 50 days? They said, we expected to see a hospital bed in here. I said, oh, no, no hospital bed. They said, well, I couldn't believe that you actually got up and answered the door for me. I said, well, I just did, And I still sometimes struggle with a lack of breath, but for the most part, it's only been a couple months since I've been off that ECMO machine, and I am doing very well. And I think it's because of, the intervention that, occurred to me. We actually went down to Father Solanus's grave a couple weekends ago, and there's 4 kneelers there. And of course I move a little slower now. So as we're walking in there, all my kids sat down and kneeled and prayed. And I felt like, I don't really know why I was saved, but I felt like if there was any reason, that was it. That those kids were, that they know. Well, I feel like it's going to happen regardless. If it's my part and it makes it happen, that would be great.
So there we go. That's his story, more or less. I didn't play the whole video. I kind of jumped around a little bit. But if you want to see the whole thing, I will put a link to the article and the video. The video is actually in the article. It's from the diocese page. But they did update the article later on, and they actually put in... Hold on, here we go. Here's the update. In recent days, the Ostrowski family have been contacted by those responsible for promoting Blessed Solanus' cause of canonization to thank them for sharing their story. They explain, however, that after consulting with their advisory physicians, they won't be pursuing Nolan's recovery as an official miracle, due to the fact that there may be some medical explanation for his recovery, as remote that explanation may be. So essentially they've said they won't use this as the potential miracle that gets Father Solanus Casey canonized and made a saint. And I actually like that, because they've said, look, because this can be explained medically, like people do get a bad case of COVID and then they can get better, we're not going to use this. That doesn't mean it wasn't a miracle. I mean, Lourdes has 70 official miracles, but that doesn't mean there were not thousands and thousands more that just haven't been officially accepted as miracles, but they were still miracles. So in this case, they say, look, this could have happened within the realm of natural law, so we won't pursue it. But I mean, from what this guy's saying, it isn't just so much the recovery, it's the fact that he sees this figure of Solanus Casey by his bed come over and then touch him on the ribcage. It makes it sound very much like it is a miracle. But it won't be used to potentially canonize Father Solanus Casey, but I still think it's a wonderful story. I don't know if you think it's a legit miracle or not. I personally do. It certainly sounds like it. I think if he just prayed to Father Solanus Casey and then got better, you could argue and say, well, you prayed and then you got better, but maybe you would have got better anyway without the prayer. But it's the fact that he saw him by his bedside a couple of times on 2 different nights, from what he was saying. That makes it quite amazing and astounding. Yeah, so that's it, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and see you again soon.